In the quiet hills outside ancient Rome, the wind whispered through the olive trees. The sun fell gently on the marble steps of a villa where Lucius, just 19, walked silently, carrying scrolls in his arms. His heart was loud, but his lips stayed shut. Inside, Julia sat near the window. She was his mother, graceful, strong, and with eyes that held 1,000 secrets. Since Lucius returned from Athens, something between them had changed. He was no longer a boy, and she had grown quieter. "Come sit, Lucius," she said softly. Her voice felt like music to him. He obeyed. Their hands brushed as she took the scrolls. A silence grew between them, deep and full. He looked at her face, every line, every breath, every blink. His heart ached. "Why do you stare so much?" she asked, not meeting his eyes. "I don't know," he whispered, but he knew. He remembered nights when he dreamed of her touch, her smile, the way she held him when he was small. But now those dreams were different. He hated himself for it, yet he couldn't stop. One evening he found her crying in the garden. He walked to her, slowly, unsure. "Why do you cry?" he asked. "Because I see something in your eyes," she said, "and it scares me." Lucius didn't answer. He only looked at her, and for a moment she didn't move away. But then she stood. "You must forget. This cannot be." He watched her walk away. His chest burned. The Roman moon rose above, silent, cold, and full. The morning air was cool. The sky above Rome was painted in soft pink and gold. Birds flew low over the fields. Inside the villa, Julia moved quietly. Her hands were busy with a basket of figs, but her mind was far away, with thoughts she did not want to think. Lucius had been silent for 3 days. She told herself it was good. It gave her space. It gave him time to forget what he felt. But deep down, she felt the emptiness, like a hollow room inside her chest. She missed his eyes, the way they watched her, full of something dangerous, something warm. She missed the way he sat near her, close enough for their arms to brush. She missed his laughter, his voice. She hated herself for missing it. That afternoon, she found him by the fountain. Lucius was cleaning the marble edge, his tunic sticking to his back. The sun made his skin glow like bronze. When he looked up and saw her, he stood, wiping his hands. "Mother," he said, his voice calm. Julia turned, her hand shaking as she picked a leaf from the water. "You must never speak like this again." He didn't argue. He only watched her walk away again. 2 nights later, the villa was filled with music. It was the feast of Vesta, goddess of home and fire. Families across Rome lit candles and offered bread. The villa glowed with golden light. Servants sang old songs and filled plates with roasted lamb and wine. Julia wore a white gown, her hair tied in soft braids. She looked like a statue come to life. Lucius couldn't look away. He sat across from her at the long table, his cup untouched. His eyes moved with every motion she made. The way her fingers touched the wine jug. The way her lips parted when she laughed at an old story. After dinner, guests moved to the garden. Lanterns hung from trees like stars. Julia walked alone near the olive grove, her shawl slipping off her shoulder. Lucius followed her. "You shouldn't be alone," he said. "I'm fine," she answered, but she didn't turn him away. They walked side by side, silence falling between them. "You look beautiful tonight," he whispered. She looked at him. "You must not say such things, even if they are true." She stopped walking. "Why do you do this to me, Lucius? You are tearing me apart." "Because I love you," he said. "Not as a son should. I know that. But I can't lie anymore." She stared at him, her chest rising and falling. The moonlight made her eyes look wet. "You don't understand," she said, her voice soft. "This feeling, it will destroy us both." Lucius stepped closer. "Then let it. I don't care anymore." He reached out and touched her hand. She didn't pull away. For a moment, the world stopped. The music from the villa faded. The wind died. "I shouldn't feel this," she whispered. "But you do," he said. She closed her eyes, and for a heartbeat, their lips almost met. But then she pulled back. "No," she said, trembling. "This is wrong." She ran into the dark, leaving Lucius standing alone. The next day, she locked herself in her room. She wept until her voice broke. She didn't eat. She didn't speak. Lucius waited outside her door like a ghost. When she finally opened it, she looked tired. Her eyes were red, but she spoke with strength. "You must go to the city," she said. "You have an uncle there. He will give you work. It is time." Lucius stared at her. "You are fire," he said, "and I will burn with you." Julia fell into his arms. They stood there for what felt like forever, holding each other. Mother and son, lovers in silence, enemies of law and time. But when the sun rose, the spell would break. That night, Julia sat awake by the window. The moon was bright above the hills. She watched Lucius sleep by the hearth, his chest rising with soft breaths. A blanket covered him, but one arm was bare. She wanted to touch him, just once. Her fingers moved slowly, reaching for his hand, but she stopped. She closed her eyes, fighting herself again. Her thoughts were loud. What am I becoming? Is this love or a curse? Can fire live in a mother's heart? She stood and left the room. Outside, the cold air kissed her skin. She walked to the small altar by the garden and lit a candle. She prayed to Vesta. She prayed for strength. She prayed to forget. But the flame danced, and it reminded her of his eyes. The fire beneath the veil was not gone. It was just beginning. The days grew shorter. The Roman sky turned gray. Cold winds passed through the hills, and the olive trees stood bare. The villa, once warm and full of life, felt quiet now, like a temple long forgotten. Lucius no longer smiled. He worked in silence. He ate in silence. He slept little. His heart was not quiet. It was heavy with pain. Julia watched him from afar. She had not sent him away. She couldn't, not after that night. But she hadn't embraced him either. They lived like shadows under the same roof, close enough to feel each other breathe, far enough to stay aching. Each day was harder. Lucius wanted more than glances, more than stolen touches, more than whispered words in the dark. But Julia resisted. She loved him, yes, but not just as a mother. She knew it now. It was in her blood, her bones. but she was still fighting herself, and the guilt was a war that never ended. One evening, as rain fell over the red tiles of the roof, Lucius stood by her doorway. "Let me in," he said. Julia stayed silent. Her back was to the door. She held her shawl close, her heart racing. "Please," he whispered, "just tonight." "No," she said. "You know we can't." "I know," he said, "but I also know that I love you more than anything." She turned to face the door. Her lips trembled. "But still," she whispered, "I feel peace beside you." He touched her face. She closed her eyes. The fire cracked. Shadows danced on the wall. The wind outside howled, but inside, it was quiet. The kind of quiet that only two souls in pain can understand. The next morning, trouble arrived. A rider came from the city, a soldier on a black horse, with a letter sealed in red wax. Julia opened it with shaking hands. It was from her brother, a Roman senator. He had heard whispers, people in the city had begun to talk, servants had spoken, neighbors had seen. "You must send the boy away," the letter said. "If Rome hears of this, you will be shamed, and he will be killed." Julia fell to her knees. Lucius took the letter and read it. His face turned pale. "They will not take you from me," he said. "I won't let them." Julia looked into his eyes. "This is my fault. I let my heart grow wild. I should have stopped this from the beginning." "But you didn't," he said. "No," she whispered, "because I didn't want to." Lucius pulled her close. "Then run with me." "Run?" she asked. "We'll go far," he said. "To the eastern hills, to the coast. No one will know. No one will find us." She stared at him. Could she leave everything behind? The house, the name, the life of a Roman noblewoman? For love that the world would never forgive? For her own son? She nodded. They left that night. No servants, no horses, only cloaks and coins. They walked through the trees under the light of the same Roman moon that had watched them for months. It shone like silver, cold and perfect, above two broken hearts, trying to be whole. Lucius led the way. Julia followed close, her hand in his. They slept in barns, ate bread from strangers, traveled only at night. They reached the coast in 5 days. There they found a small cottage by the cliffs, hidden, quiet, away from the world. They lived in peace for a time. Weeks passed. Lucius built fishing nets. Julia cooked by the fire. They read scrolls and told stories. They laughed again. Some days they were only mother and son, laughing like before, sharing memories of the past. But some nights they were more, sitting close, whispering dreams, touching hands that lingered too long. Still, something remained between them, guilt. Julia often stood by the sea, staring at the waves. "Is this love?" she would ask. "Or just loneliness?" Lucius would hold her and say, "Does it matter when it feels like this?" But she wasn't sure anymore. One evening,